Hi, welcome to Storm the Field, all about college football, for fans, by fans. I'm Mathis. I'm joined here with Trey and Rob, and we're going to talk a
hmm
little bit about our big games, uh, potential upsets, and the just general preview of week 4 of college football. Uh, okay, we're starting off with Kentucky at Ole Miss. For this game, the over under is 54, and Ole Miss, the lower ranked team, is favored by 7 points. And so, Trey, what do you think?
like I said at the beginning of the year, I like Jackson Dart, but I really haven't gotten to watch an Ole Miss game, so I can't back up that statement yet. But I mean, I believe that Ole Miss could go into this game and win this game. They're playing at Ole Miss, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, playing in Oxford. I mean, SEC is different. It's hard to go into a place and win a game on the road, and I just feel like Ole Miss will probably pull out this game by a touchdown or two. So it's going to be a pretty good, close game. I don't see a big difference between Kentucky and Ole Miss, but just that home crowd advantage gives Ole Miss the edge, in my opinion.
I agree. I think Kentucky's been challenged this year. They're both undefeated. They've shown who they are. They're obviously a top 10 team. Ole Miss, there's a little bit of unknown about them. They haven't really been challenged this year, but I have to give them the edge because they're playing in Mississippi.
Yep.
Well, we got a fight here because I have Kentucky and I have them
All
by
right.
a little over a touchdown in this game. I just don't know what to think about Ole Miss. I was lower on them from the beginning of the season, but their run game looked pretty good through these first few games. But the problem is
Mm.
there's some holes that are getting poked in that run game because they have some injuries. And so I don't know if they can get it started on the ground super early. And Jackson Dart has had some, or Luke Altmaier, who really, they've kind of split time some. Whoever they've had at quarterback has had some questionable decision making. I think Matt Corral, whatever you want to call him, he is a big reason on why they did so good last year. And even with that team, you needed some help. And so to get to 10 wins like they did. And I'm just not super confident on them. I feel a little higher on Kentucky, even though I'm not super huge on Kentucky either. I was a little lower on them starting off the season, but I think their defense is going to be able to be opportunistic, and they're more proven than Ole Miss is. And Quentin didn't tell me why he picked the teams he did. He can't be here today, but he did also pick Kentucky. So it's going to be y'all two versus us two. And that's an 11 a.m. game here in Central Time. And so that will be a fun one for us to fight out. We're going to
Yep.
we're going to be at each other's throats early in the day. Uh, Next, we have, and I know y'all can't see right now, but I put some classic logos on the screen, and wow, they just look so good. We got that Oklahoma State Cowboy, and we got the Kelly
Pistol Pete.
Green Baylor Bear. Looks like the Grizzlies logo, Trey, the old one.
Yep.
Yep. And Rob, you start us off with this one. Oh,
This is a very tight game. You know, Oklahoma State, I have them winning the Big 12. I had them preseason going into Baylor and winning on the road. I'm sticking with them. Um, you know, Baylor's a tough team. They had a loss early on, and this is one of those. Baylor being the home team is a small favorite. This is one of my upsets of the week. I'm gonna go with Oklahoma State keeping that undefeated record and staying in first place in the Big 12.
I mean, I completely agree. I haven't been too impressed by either team this year. They just haven't played to the level that they played last year. But this is going to be a hard fought game, especially this being the rematch of the Big 12 Conference Championship last year. And I feel like with Oklahoma State having that bitter taste in their mouth last year from missing the college football playoff because they lost that game, I feel like they're going to go into Baylor and win a very, very, very close game. I would say within a field goal, in my opinion.
You
so
know, unfortunately, we're only going to get to see about 30 minutes of this game. It starts at 2:30, and we all know what starts at 3. So
We got two TVs.
We'll have it on the backup TV.
All right. So I'm taking Baylor. I'm taking them by about a field goal. I think home field decides this game. And I just don't know if Oklahoma State's going to be able to get to the quarterback. And Blake Shapen, when he has a clean pocket, has been pretty good. Now, when he doesn't have a clean pocket, that's a different story. Oklahoma State, they didn't play a game last week, so you could think, oh, they're going to be fresh. Oklahoma State, they're gonna come out striking. Baylor came off a tough win last week against Iowa State. It was a good win, but it was obviously Big 12 play. You're going to get a little banged up. But I just have too many questions with Oklahoma State. I was already a little lower on them preseason, and I only take in preseason stuff in when we don't know a whole lot about a team. Like Oklahoma State, we don't know a whole lot. They haven't been tested yet this year. Ole Miss, they have not been tested yet this year. And so I'm just going to ride with the team I know a little more about. And so I'm taking Baylor just with home field. But I would not be shocked either way. And I actually wrote down as a little note, I said might change if I'm on an island. I'm not going to be the only one to pick Baylor, so that's not happening. And so Quentin also has Baylor in this game, I think for a lot of the reasons I mentioned.
We're just a third of the way through the season, and but I would say right now, and things can certainly change, but Oklahoma State may be the only chance the Big 12 has of putting a team in the playoffs right now. Everybody else that's really expected to compete already has a loss. Baylor, OU, and Texas.
Kansas.
Not
Miracle
Texas.
season.
Yeah. But
Miracle season.
Hey, don't forget
This
2009.
2019 over again.
Yeah, and Quentin also has Baylor in this game. So, Rob, are you on an island, or Trey, did you also pick Oklahoma
I
State?
chose Oklahoma State.
Okay, so
Yeah,
me and Quentin
I think-
against you and
I
Rob
think
so far.
on picks 1 and 2, it's split.
Wow,
2-2.
this is. Hey,
The
I think we're gonna have a
smart
lot
versus
more
the
of this. We're gonna
And-
have,
The intelligent people versus the idiots.
Yeah, Trey, you're going with Ole Miss too, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, you and I are.
Intelligent.
Yeah.
all right. Well, hopefully here we can get some common ground. Next, we have Bama going into Arkansas.
I think we all agree on who's going to win this game.
Yeah.
Especially with the way Arkansas played last week. I have a lot of questions about Arkansas, and they're not going to figure out those answers against Alabama. I mean, Alabama's one of the best teams in the nation, even though they had that really tough game against Texas a couple weeks ago. They bounced back, obviously, with I think the previous 2 games, and I just don't think this one's going to be remotely close.
My only question about this game, really, and I know Arkansas is good, and I know they're playing at home, which I hope will make it a very competitive game. But my only question really is Alabama going to cover the spread? I think I show it at a 17.5 as of a couple days ago.
It's 17 right now.
17. Okay, I'm going with Alabama, and I just hope if Alabama does cover, I hope they do it all in the fourth quarter. I hope this is a competitive game because I don't want Arkansas falling off the face of the earth. They kind of did that last year after a great start. They lost like 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4, and we stopped hearing about them. I think they're a very good team, and if it weren't for that oink doink, they'd be right back in the top 10.
All right. So I'm also taking Bama, but I don't think they're covering.
Okay.
And if you look at their last road games, they have not been able to just dominate on the road. You look at A&M last year, Arkansas last year, Florida last year, Texas this year. They just haven't been able to dominate teams on the road. But Trey, I got 2 words for you.
What's the 2 words?
Bryce Young and Will Anderson.
That's 5 words.
Yep.
You should say, I got 2 players for you.
Yeah, that's 5 words, man.
No, it was a reference to it was a Charles Barkley thing. Right?
Yeah, I know.
You wouldn't understand it, right?
He's
All right.
an idiot.
All right. That's 5 words, Chuck. All right. Nash and Paul, must see TV. Yeah, but I actually going back to the game, I actually have Bama winning by about a touchdown. And I think, yeah, I just think that
Yeah,
I don't think they'll cover, but I think Bama in that pass rush is going to be able to kind of pull away so where they're able to win this game late. I think Bama's just this is going to be mind-boggling to y'all, but I think Bama is the more talented team. And so I think that
No.
and they have a great run defense. And I know Arkansas has a great run game, but when you have
yeah,
a great run defense and a great run game, it makes you want to
yeah.
throw the ball. And I don't know if Arkansas has the ability to win a game throwing the
Yeah.
ball. I don't think that's their game.
To me, this
Excuse
is a
me.
close game if Arkansas can establish the run game early on.
Yeah.
If they struggle against Alabama's front line, then this is going to become a early blowout. So,
Yeah.
uh,
I had a
and,
good
and that includes Jefferson. He's got to run, and he's really good at it, but he's got to pick up some first downs on
He
third.
didn't show it last week against A&M.
He did. He got a
He
lot.
fumbled.
Well,
Hey,
at one time,
the only time it mattered.
at one time.
Hey,
Well,
so
I mean,
I-
you don't dive and extend the ball out when you're at the 4-yard line.
Hey.
and he almost got it too.
Yeah, because
Hey.
he's like 6'7". He's crazy big.
So
Yeah.
I had an actual I was watching a show. I can't remember exactly where I got it. If it comes to me, I'll let y'all know. I had a really good quote, but I didn't want to waste it. And I think I might actually be talking about the same game of where I heard this before. So we'll go ahead and move on to that next game, and I'll explain more in a second. I'll start us off with this one. We got Wake Forest at FSU, and the over-under is 64, and Florida State is favored by 7. And I don't know about y'all, but in a hurricane, 64 points, I am taking that under every day of the week. Because, and it's not because of the rain, it's because of the wind. I don't think they're going to be playing in the hurricane, but there is going to be some bad weather, is what it seems like.
There's going to be impacts for sure.
And so I just don't know if Wake is going to, and this is going to be the story for our next game too, our tiebreaker. But I don't know if throwing the ball is going to be the best bet. And so to get to that quote I was just talking to y'all about, I think it was on On3. I'm pretty sure it was.
It was.
He goes.
I think it was Bud Elliott that said that.
It was Bud Elliott, it might have been J.D. Pickell. He said, "Don't let Clemson beat you twice." And I think that I was driving when I heard it. I was like, "Wow," because you see that a lot of times. I think you saw it with Miami last week, of where
Saw it with Texas last year. Oklahoma beat them 7 times.
yeah, Oklahoma did beat them 7 times, but it was yeah, I think that's a real possibility. I think when you come off a game like that and you're going into a hostile environment with a team that's on fire, I'm just taking FSU in that game, and I'm taking them by about a touchdown also.
Ooh. Okay, see, you had me thinking you were going with Wake Forest.
No, I think
I'm going with Wake Forest. This is probably my biggest upset alert as far as point spread, but you know, if I had to give it more thought, and I probably should have, you're right about the weather. Who does that impact the most? I think Wake Forest has a better quarterback, better passing game, so I think that's going to impact them more than Florida State. I just can't see them taking Clemson to overtime, and even though this is a road game, I can't see them losing to Florida State. I think Florida State. I think Wake Forest has had a much tougher schedule than Florida State, and there should be more separation in the rankings between the two. I have Wake Forest preseason, I think in a 3-way tie actually for the Atlantic Coast representative in the ACC. So I'm sticking with Wake Forest beating Florida State at home or on the road actually. Like I said earlier, this is an upset alert game for me, which I will not be mentioning later because we're already talking about it.
Troy.
I agree with Rob. I actually went and did the research on the weather at the game on Saturday, and the wind gust isn't going to be terrible. I mean, you're still going to be able to have a passing game in that. I looked at the radar. The hurricane is on the far east coast of Florida, so it's not going to affect Tallahassee. So I'm going to have to go Wake Forest, especially with the way they played last week. I feel like there's going to be a close game because Florida State is just on fire right now, which is surprising because they haven't shown this in a long time. And so I think it's going to be a pretty high scoring game, in my opinion. Not like covering the spread high scoring, but high scoring with the between the circumstances. So I have Wake Forest winning this game.
What Wake for this game means so much more to Wake Forest. They're 0-1 in conference while FSU is 2-0. If Wake Forest goes down 0-2, I think their chances of getting into the championship game is just it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I will add, I probably would. I'd lean FSU, even if there was no weather, like no bad weather. I like what I've seen a lot from FSU, so I don't mean to just say, "Oh, there's a hurricane, so the team that doesn't throw the ball as much." I do think Florida State's a good team, and if y'all go back to the predictions, I think it was 7-5 that I had Wake Forest, and granted that was without Sam Hartman, and he's back, so that doesn't really seem to be an issue.
Is he back?
Oh, yeah, he's back. He's might be on his way to New York for.
Yeah. You know, something else, Mathis, that we haven't considered. I understand the impact that the weather will have on the game, but what about the impact of the damage that weather will cause to your local communities? Florida State will be potentially dealing with some of those emotions, while Wake Forest, you know, they're coming from the Northeast. You know, there's not.
They're about to wreak havoc part 2
Yeah,
on the state of Florida.
Hey, well, maybe
Exactly.
the emotional damage will cancel out because they just had an emotionally damaging game against Clemson in overtime.
I would say it
Heartbreaker
was
at
emotionally
home.
damaged. I mean, they lost a close game, but it was an impressive game from Wake Forest,
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but you
especially
got
competing with the number
games
5
like that
Clemson.
are crushing to a team. Like stuff like that when you're that close and you lose. Like that can be really tough, and you can see them lose the next week. And so
So you're saying they're going to beat them? Clemson's going to beat them twice?
I think they might. I won't be surprised if Sam Hartman lights the world on fire again, and
Yeah.
then I'll eat my words. I'm fine with that. Uh, Plus, we're mixing it up. We're getting some diversity in our picks. But once again,
I think you and I have except for the Alabama game, we have
everything
we
different.
haven't seen eye to eye at all.
Yeah, and Quentin once again is following my lead, and he's got Florida State also in that game.
So Trey and I have Wake Forest, and you guys have Florida. Man, Trey, you and I are going to have to find one game that we're different on.
It might be this next one.
All right, we're moving
I don't
on.
know.
And if some of y'all don't know, or if you're just watching the clip when I post this afterwards, we have a little pick 'em, and so we pick games through the CBS Sports app in our, and you just get 1 point per game. But if you're tied, we have a little tiebreaker. And so this tiebreaker just so happens this week to be NC State at Clemson. Clemson favored by 7, and the over/under is 44. And so, Trey, I want to hear from you first on this game.
I'm not really impressed with NC State, especially them only beating East Carolina by a point week 1, and they just haven't played great against pretty mediocre teams like Texas Tech. Clemson is a lot better than mediocre, in my opinion. So, I mean, I have Clemson winning this game by probably 10 points, and I have the over-under set at 50, I believe.
50. Uh-oh. Well, I'm going with Trey. I'm picking Clemson. I think North Carolina State is overranked. You know, they're going on the road to Clemson, who sneaked out of Wake Forest with the win. I think they're catching their breath now and they're getting back to business. I don't think Clemson is a top 5 team, but playing at home against North Carolina State, I'm going with Clemson for 51 points total. Clemson winning 31-20.
Yep.
So Trey, if Trey says that Clemson's going to win by 10, then yours is actually 30-20.
Whatever it is. I mean, I just chose something, honestly.
So y'all both have Clemson. Trey, you have 50. Rob, you have 51.
I'm going to go look to make sure.
Well, I bet you can't guess where I'm going here.
You're going 49
Clemson, 49.
52.
Nope.
Well, I have Clemson. I have it at 49.
You don't have any of it right so far.
You're
I have
going
it at 49.
Oh, so you have them 49. So they're going to win 29,
21.
19.
What are y'all talking about? No.
Yep.
No, I have.
You said by 10.
Yep.
I haven't said
by
anything
10.
yet.
Yeah, no. Hey, I'm just rounding up. I'm rounding to the most even number in
All
football
right.
terms.
So what's the final scores y'all have before I get into it? Just so we have it.
31-20 Clemson.
Trey?
I'll go 14. So 35-21. I'll change my score.
You said 35-21?
Yeah, I'll change it, but I think 14 is more likely than 10 right now.
Okay. Well, you got to change it.
I'm going to. That's what I'm going to.
Okay.
All right, guys. I'm either going to have the worst weekend of my life or the best one when it comes to college football predicting, because on the road, I have NC State 24, Clemson 17. And I'm going to harp on it again. We will have bad weather. I'm still high on NC State. And when you have bad weather, what works better? Slow teams
Run, of course.
or fast teams?
What was the first one?
Slow
teams or fast teams?
Slow and steady wins the race. Give me NC State in a low-scoring affair. I don't think a whole lot of what Clemson did is going to translate this week. And I think that the weather's going to play right into NC State's style. And I had this game in the preseason. And so, out of my points, I've hit everything except for the last point. And it's hope. Because I really hope this happens. Because I want to have sniped this from what would have it been 2 months ago by that point. And so, I might have to.
Hey, Mathis,
make me a
I
marksman.
want this segment clipped out regardless. If you win and you're right, obviously you're going to. But if you're wrong, I want it clipped out and posted as well.
Hey, well, I'll eat my words afterwards. All y'all know I'll take blame even when I don't deserve the blame. I kind of put everything on myself, and so, but that's a two-way street.
Too, man.
Yeah, I know, and I took a lot of blame, but I'll also say, since I take all the blame, if things go my way, I'm taking all of the credit. And so it is a two-way street, so I'm fine with hearing all the crap that's going to come my way if it doesn't happen. But if it does, I mean, how many games do we have different? 1, 2, 3. We have four of these games different.
Yeah.
Out of these. And so Quentin's stuck to my hip on most of these. I don't know what number he has, but I have a total score of 41.
Our luck, though.
And so
our luck, though.
So I'm hitting that.
Our luck. Our luck will be of the 4 differences, you'll win 2, and we'll win
yeah,
2.
that's probably what'll happen.
Based off of statistics right now, I think we're more likely to win because Rob has won 2 weeks in a row. Won the first 2 weeks, and I won the third week. So the probability of us winning is a lot higher than yours.
Yeah.
Well, technically on the pick'em, it shows I have 2 wins. Technically.
Well, but one thing you have going against you, Mathis, is you're slumming it with Quentin. Quentin is bringing his career right now.
Yeah, Quentin's going nowhere fast. All right, we're gonna go ahead and.
Although I do have to say, we looked at the total wins to date after 4 weeks, and I think there's only six points difference between first and last place amongst the 4 of us, which is pretty tight.
Hey, and this is a long season. We're gonna have a lot of time to make up ground, and very well, one of us could just run away with it. But I'm trying to be a little more on edge. I have some games that I just don't feel comfortable picking on. But if it's a 50-50, I might go with the upset just to kind of make things interesting. we're going to get on to my favorite topic of the week. We got some upsets. Upset alert. So this is our segment where we talk all about upsets that we pick and upsets that we think could happen. And so when you say an upset, you got to tell me the team you think is going to win. And then you got to tell me the team, or if you think an upset's going to happen, then tell me you're picking this. And then after that, after we get out of some games that we're picking, then we'll get into some games that just to be like an upset watch, if you will, just things to watch out for. And so if we had an upset watch last week, Texas versus Tech would have been on that list. I kind of prefaced it when we were talking about the headline game last week, but I didn't put it in this because I wasn't really picking it. And so, Rob, we're going to start, or Trey, you're first. You won last week.
Yeah, I won. Yeah.
And then we're going Rob, then me.
I'm going to have to give you two. I'm going to do this every week. I'm going to go a historical upset and what my pick is.
Trey, you got to go one at a time. All of us got picks now.
Now I'm going to go two.
Nope.
Hey, I'm going two, man.
Rob, cut him off after one.
My upset pick this week is Oklahoma State, Baylor. I have Oklahoma State winning that game. So, and I feel like that might be the best game of the day.
I don't know. There's going to be a lot of games.
Of the 5 games we've already talked about, 2 of them are already upsets. Oklahoma State over Baylor for me and Wake Forest over Florida State. Outside of those, I've got 3 other games in our pick'em that I'm calling an upset, and it's strictly based on the points and not playing favorites here or anything, but I'm just going with the largest point spread per Vegas. And right now, my remaining game, largest upset winner, is number 17 A&M over Mississippi State on the road.
Yep.
My upset game of the week.
All right.
I think the Aggies offense is possibly turning it around, and I think
good morning.
Mississippi State may be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Good morning to Mississippi State, or to Texas A&M's offense. Sorry, there's a brain fart. Yeah, they made it here after 3.5 weeks. They finally got to the season. I think all of y'all know where I'm going.
Maybe this will lead to an actually competitive game next week against Alabama.
You can only dream.
I'm looking forward to next week.
Yeah.
I think all y'all know where I'm going. First, it was Vanderbilt, and I still love me some Vanderbilt. But they already did what I asked them to do, so I'm not going to push them too hard. Team that I underestimated, and everyone underestimated this season. Rock, Chalk, Jayhawk. The wrong team is favored. Kansas should be ranked. They should be ranked higher than K-State. They don't have an ugly Tulane loss on their schedule. They have 2 gutsy road wins. And guess where they're playing this time? They're playing at home.
And Mathis, they're one of my other 2 upset. I have Kansas winning at home as well.
Iowa State has never played good as a favorite under Matt Campbell. And you know who's playing
but not
great?
By much. It was a 3-point game. I don't know
it's
what
like
it is
2.5,
now.
I think. I didn't look recently. I knew Kansas wasn't favored, and it's a travesty. And so we're going to go back to Trey. I'll hold my tongue for now, but rock, chalk, baby.
For my other upset that I was going to say, historically, Iowa, the past 4 out of 5 years, has beaten the top 5 team at home. So I'm going to have to take that game. I'm going to have to take the Iowa-Michigan game, even though.
Is that straight up, or was that with the 47.5-point favorite spread?
I don't know. I didn't look at the spread. I went
that will be the upset of the year.
Yeah, I would.
People will lose money on that if you're right.
What's the line?
Hey.
It's a 47.5-point spread.
Yeah, I think it's big, but I'm just going based off of
historical events.
It's 11.
History tends to repeat itself.
It's 11.
This is a team that their defense has outscored their offense so far.
Hey, weird things have happened. That's all I'm saying.
The spread is 11.
What?
The spread is 11, not 47.5.
No, it's not.
Michigan at Iowa.
47 sounds crazy.
The over-under is 42. I'm looking at it right now. You can't tell me it's a 47-point spread.
Gosh, yeah. I must have, the over-under must have been 47 and a half.
It's 42.
No, and when I looked at it originally.
Rob, you're taking my place as just swing and a miss when it comes to your facts.
Well, but I have an excuse. I'm over 50.
Oh,
I'm a
okay.
senior citizen.
I didn't realize that age kept you from getting things right. Trey, are you picking that game?
I thought you said we were watching stuff. I was just going to rattle off a few games.
I know, but you got to tell me if you're picking it, or you got to tell me if you're not picking it.
I said that was one of the games I said watch.
Oh, that's a watch, or are you picking?
Are we having two games picked? I guess I'll go that game. That's fine.
Are you picking that game? Trey,
yes,
you don't.
I will.
Okay, please pick it.
Oh no, not on the pick'em. Not on the pick'em. No, I'm not doing that on the pick'em.
That's what we're talking about.
That's a watch game. That's an upset.
Yeah, there's a difference between saying this game could be an upset and saying it's an upset. You know?
Oh no, I wouldn't put my money on that.
Yeah, that's why I'm sitting here like, you lying?
Yeah.
All right, Rob, what's your second game? If you have one.
Well, I think we've mentioned. I've actually my last game, my fifth upset in the pick'em is UCLA winning at home. They're a 3-point underdog against Washington, and Washington's been good, but I think UCLA they've struggled a little bit early on, but I think they're going to still be in the mix when it comes to fighting for the Pac-12 championship. I think they're going to take out Washington and possibly knock them out of the top 25. And that game, I believe, is tomorrow night.
It is. Yeah, I also have UCLA in that game. That's one I wrote down. And Trey, as one of the games I'm watching, I also wrote down Iowa over Michigan, question mark. Just a question mark. Not saying it's happening, not picking it. So I
would pick it if I was picking for somebody else. If I was putting somebody else's money on that game, I would put their money.
Hey, everyone put all the money you have on Iowa right now.
Who do you guys have tonight? Utah State or BYU?
BYU.
All right, I got a few more.
Well, hang on. What about and we all have UCLA tomorrow night?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, honestly.
I'm just trying to find out. Last week, I started off in the deficit before we even got to Saturday. It looks like we're going to all be square regardless of the outcome of these games.
Yeah, I think so. All right, so that takes one off my board. I have two upsets left. We talked about both of them already. And these are ones I'm picking. But then I want to get into two that we haven't talked about that I'm just watching for. We got NC State. I'm picking them over Clemson. And then I'm picking Kentucky over Ole Miss. And so we already talked about those. If you're watching this as a clip, go watch our headline pick video. I don't know what I'm going to call that yet, but it's going to be posted on the same day. And if I end up not posting a clip, then just completely ignore if I said anything. Here's two games to watch for. TCU over OU.
I was going to say that.
That's one of mine. I think the spread is way too low.
Yeah, in Vegas knows something.
Yeah.
And I think penalties being a little sloppy. I think it was a welcome to being a head coach to Brent Venables last week. Because for as much as we thought about Nebraska at the beginning of the season, they're looking a lot more like Kent State than they are like a Power 5 team. And so, no disrespect to Nebraska, we're just calling it how we see it. And so when they played,
I'm disrespecting Nebraska.
What I consider real competition, they didn't look too good. And so that was at home, and now you're playing on the road at TCU. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm saying watch for it, especially when you know who they're playing next week, or not. If they're playing Texas after, so that's something you can overlook. And so I'm not picking it. I think OU is going to take care of business. And another game that I'm not picking, but I'm really unsure if the favored team is going to be able to take care of business. And I decided not to put them on blast last week, and bad things happened. And so this is a wake-up call to Steve Sarkisian and the Texas Longhorns.
Yep.
You better beat West Virginia. Because you do not want a rehash of last year. Are you going to let Tech beat you 2 weeks in a row? Are you going to let Alabama beat you 2 out of 3 weeks following that game? And because last week,
I've got Texas winning that game.
I do too. I'm not picking this. I'm saying.
I mean, I would hope Texas wins this game, but given their history, I think this game is a lot closer than Vegas has it at.
Yeah.
Well, I think they're going to put it together. I think they're not going to look past this game. I think if they had beaten Tech last week, then they might look past this game for Oklahoma, but they need a win bad. They're at home. I think they're going to get it. I don't think they're really going to have any trouble. I think Oklahoma is going to have some trouble against TCU, but I still think that 6.5 point spread is too low. One game I'd like to talk about is a couple of surprise teams, and that's Texas Tech going to Kansas State. They're both 1-0 in conference. Between the two of them, they've only got one loss, and that's Tech. The winner of this game, I don't know, will be in sole possession of first place, but they'll be 2-0 in conference.
So who do you have
It
in that
depends
game?
on how Baylor.
So who do you have in that game?
I've got Kansas State.
Yeah, I do too. To be completely honest, and I was about to say no disrespect, but I don't really care. I don't think Tech's that good. I think Texas completely crapped the bed on that game because I think they're still staring down the barrel of, are we gonna make a bowl game? I think that's completely in play, and
yeah, I agree with that.
we can clip this if Tech ends up like leading the Big 12 like in week 8. I don't really care.
There's 3 things you can do in a game. You can win it, the other team can beat you, or you could lose it. And I would say Texas definitely lost that game last week.
Yeah, Texas
Well, it
lost.
also doesn't help when your quarterback, like the backup quarterback, has thrown one more touchdown than your starting guy, and the starting guy played a game and a quarter, and the backup has played almost 3 games now.
Yeah, I think Texas played Tech on the field, but Texas beat them. Texas beat Texas in that game.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what happened. But the thing is I'm trying to keep my picks and my analysis based off principle. I'm trying to be, what would you call it? This is
optimistic.
I'm trying to be consistent with my
your logic.
My strategy and my logic. I'm trying to stay disciplined with my kind of logic going behind it. And so with Texas, I'm looking at this team. I saw what they did last year. I saw what they did against Tech. And it's kind of like a what have you done for me lately? And yeah, they took care of business against UTSA. But until they can prove to me that they can destroy a team that they're supposed to kill, they're going to be on upset watch for me every game they're favored in.
I tell you, I don't want to jump ahead a week, but the OU Texas game would be really exciting if they both were undefeated going into it. The only thing that could possibly compete, I think it's better that they both have one loss going into it rather than one being undefeated and one having a loss, because I think you got 2 teams now, especially assuming they both win this coming weekend, that are going to be desperate. This is not going to be
Texas
a game
already
where,
has 2 losses.
If we lose it, if we lose it, we still have a chance. I think the loser of that game is out.
The best Texas can be going into that game is 3-2.
Well, but no, in conference 1-1. That's all that matters right
now.
Oh yeah. And same with OU. So I'm assuming both of them win. So the loser of that Week 6 game, Texas OU, is probably more than likely out of contention.
It's almost the biggest game of the conference just by default every single year, no matter how good the teams are.
Yeah, but I mean, it's more than just emotions. It's literally their season on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it happens so early, so it's not like
every game from this point out for both teams is
a must win.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we might have a 3-loss team. This is a cannibalistic conference. They're just gonna beat each other all year. There's not gonna hardly be any skill in predicting a
Yeah.
lot of these games. So it's gonna be rough. And do y'all have anything else you want to get listed in the upset alert segment before we move on?
No,
The only thing I always go back and look at my preseason picks as I'm picking these pick'em games, and I noticed I would have expected more, but only 2 of the 30 games did I change my pick from my original preseason, and that's and Michigan State losing to Maryland. I had Michigan State winning that game, but Michigan State has really stunk it up this year. And then California, I had them beating Washington State. That was kind of almost a toss-up in the preseason for me, but Washington State is playing better than California, although California almost pulled it out against Notre Dame. But those are the 2 changes from my preseason picks.
Okay.
Notre Dame's on upset watch for me, even though it's their bye week.
All right. Well, that's all we have for upsets. And I did that just so we have a clean cut. So now that we're talking about this, I know exactly where I'm going next. So we're just going to finish this off with just some more games in our pick'em. We're just going to kind of go over some ones, kind of touch on them a little bit, but we're going to get out of here. We got some football coming soon tonight, and so we're wanting to go watch some stuff.
We got work to do.
Yeah, we got work. All right. Who do y'all have between Purdue and Minnesota?
I got Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Purdue hasn't looked very good.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
What about Louisville, Boston College? You skipped that one.
No, that's because I didn't think it was
I
interesting.
mean, I don't think we need to talk about that game.
If you don't have Louisville, then I'd love that, but I think we all should have Louisville in that game.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, Illinois.
I have Wisconsin.
Yep.
I do too. I think they have the worst record because they played the
Better
Ohio
team.
that one team in Ohio. I can't remember
Yeah.
what their name is. Here's
They're
one that I
Suckeyes.
almost put
The
on upset
Suckeyes.
alert. Here's one I almost put on upset alert, but I decided not to just because I didn't know too much about it, and I was pretty confident with where I was going.
Utah.
Oregon State,
Yep.
Utah. And so
I have Utah.
If that was, I have Utah as well. If that had been flipped, playing in Oregon State, I would have seriously considered it.
yeah, I just think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can trust Oregon State to score the ball because USC does not have a very good defense, and I think Utah's better than them. But I guess we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Is that the? No, that's not.
Michigan State, Maryland. Do we all have Maryland?
Yep.
Yes.
Virginia Tech at
State. Is it Tech or?
Virginia
It's
Tech
Virginia Tech.
at North
Okay.
Carolina.
I got North Carolina.
Yep.
Yeah, me too. Oh.
Skip the next one.
Ooh, this is a good one. Northwestern at Penn State.
Yeah.
All right, man. I have Oklahoma State out of the Oklahoma State band.
Hey, everyone look at me in the eyes right now.
No.
Penn State.
Northwestern is going to beat Penn State.
I have Texas A&M Commerce.
Okay, that's all I had. That was a clip just in case that happens. Rock Chalk, baby. They're winning it.
Yep. I had that picked.
I think Penn
LSU
State's
Auburn.
jumping in the top 10.
LSU versus
I have
Auburn.
LSU. I think Auburn is just terrible, honestly. I
Oh.
think they're just bad. And they've just had fortunate enough games to start off the year playing like Mercer and Missouri. So I think
I
LSU
have
is better.
LSU. I have LSU also.
Okay. What about Virginia and Duke?
Duke, baby. The Blue
I got
Devils.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I
They're gonna
got
get
Virginia.
back on the winning streak.
I got Virginia.
They're going bowling this year.
Well, you know the Aggies played them back when Johnny Manziel was with us.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I think
hey.
they blew them out too.
Trey, we got your little toilet bowl. Who you got? Arizona or Colorado?
I mean, I gotta go Arizona Colorado is. I thought they were going to be a two-win team. They're not a two-win team.
Colorado
They're
is
terrible.
I
You're
told
calling
you.
that a toilet bowl, but the Vegas has Arizona a 17.5-point favorite. That's potentially going to be a blowout.
Yeah, everyone is hating on my Wildcats early in the year. Oh, they didn't win a game in
They were
like 2
terrible.
years. No, they're better than Colorado. Preseason, I either had Colorado at 0-12 or 1-11, and
You
I
we
think
can get tickets to this game for $4.
Yeah, I think Colorado's the team that I said it's almost impossible to go winless. They're just going to accidentally win one game.
that's what I.
Well, they're in big or Pac-12 play now, so it's going to be.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be too
I can't
disrespectful.
see a game that they could just luck on winning now. I think they're going to go 0-12.
Hey, well, I had him at 12-0 or 0-12 just by default, but I think I gave him one win just because when I was looking at that, I didn't want to be disrespectful to any one fan base, but I think having one win gave them a little peace of mind in the preseason to any Colorado fans who were watching, which by the way was none. No one was watching, and they still aren't. So hi to future Mathis and future Rob. So that's all who's watching right now.
Arizona. I mean, this is the week that they have to win if they want to win a game for the year.
They could win that Cal game. That's who I had.
No, I can't agree with that, man.
All right, Arizona State at USC.
USC.
See,
Yeah, me
hate
too.
to say it, but USC.
I don't even hate to say it. I just
I do.
they've done
USC is
everything I thought they'd do
at
so far.
25.
USC is the West Coast version of Texas.
You're just a hater.
And the West Coast version of Michigan. All those teams are just the same.
No.
Yep.
And Miami is
They're all good.
Miami is the East Coast version.
The East Coast. Yep.
Poor guys, including me. All right.
Poor guy. Oh well. Yeah.
Yeah, the fans, not the
USC.
schools.
They almost lost last week.
Yeah.
Weren't they at home?
No,
And they
they
won by-
played
Oh, they
at
were at
Oregon
Oregon.
State, and I actually
they
think
were-
Oregon State's a good football team. And so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, Oregon State's not bad.
I'm not gonna crucify him over that. I think that. I mean, there's cause for concern, but I think Oregon State's they're not a nobody.
I think
And
I just got the ESPN notification that the game's starting.
yep, I know who you're going for. You're going for Utah State. They're the Aggies.
Yep.
All right.
The anti-Aggies.
All right. Well, that is all we have for y'all today. We'd really appreciate it if you like the episode, subscribe to the channel, have any questions in the comments, email, or any of our socials above. Appreciate y'all watching, and we will see you in our Week 5 reaction episode that should be coming out Monday night. See ya.
Bye, guys.